Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harborough series. Harborough is the southernmost district of the East Midlands county of Leicestershire. There are 91 parishes here, so let's put the spotlight on one. Hi everybody, welcome back to Leicestershire once again, and once again to the district of Harborough. Now we're beginning this episode outside the entrance to a hotel and its adjoining theatre. This is a hotel and theatre who I emailed to ask if I could film some exterior shots of the buildings that are here, because they're quite important to this episode, but unfortunately they declined. So this is going to have its own special section right at the beginning of the video, because this is very important to the rest of this parish. The hotel in question is Killworth House Hotel and Theatre, and it belongs to the parish of North Kilworth. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like, and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. The parish of North Kilworth lies within the Laughton Hills area of the south of Leicestershire, close to the River Avon that forms the county boundary with Northamptonshire. Most of the parish is underlain by clay, but North Kilworth itself is situated on one of several locally important hilltop areas of gravel, which is an aquifer, explaining the settlement's location. North Kilworth Village lies approximately 1.5 miles west of Husbands Bosworth and 4 miles east of junction 20 of the M1. It's within easy reach of the city of Leicester. An ancient place in the Domesday Book, it was called Chivelesworde, which means Chiefels wooded enclosure. It's believed to have been in existence for some 200 years earlier than that. The village is largely to the south of the A4304, the main Lutterworth to Market Harborough Road, with limited developments to the north of that road. North Kilworth has always been mainly agricultural. In the 19th century, the Royal Implement Works were here. They made agricultural machinery, and many of their goods went to royal estates like Sandringham and Windsor. In the 1800s, the railway made an appearance here, but that has since gone. North Kilworth has a few notable features like Killworth House Hotel and Theatre, and an area known as the Bogs. We'll explain both of those as we walk around another gorgeous Harborough village. We can't start the walk around North Kilworth without first explaining Kilworth House Hotel. Kilworth House was originally an Italian country house built as a family home towards the end of the 19th century for John Entwistle, the High Sheriff of Leicestershire. Entwistle was born in 1856 at Foxholes near Rochdale to a wealthy family involved in the Lancashire woolen trade. Whilst living in North Kilworth, he became a successful businessman and commissioned a Mr. A.E. Purdle to design Kilworth House. He died in 1945, and in the 1960s, the Snowdon family bought Kilworth House. Tony Iommi, the Black Sabbath guitarist, lived at the house while dating one of the Snowdons' daughters. In 1999, the Snowdons sold Kilworth House to the Mackays, the current owners. They would transform the house into a hotel and an accompanying theatre, which opened in 2007. Described as Britain's best-kept theatrical secret, shows here sell out on the regular. We start at North Kilworth Hall, a Grade 2 listed building. A notable resident of this was Paul Aloysius Kenner. He was awarded the Victoria Cross for gallantry in the Egypt campaign of 1898. It's thought that red hawthorn trees were planted in the grounds of the hall to commemorate his achievements. As a Millennium project, a new avenue of red hawthorns was planted in Washpit Lane. Washpit Lane is right next to the hall, and right in front of us here is the washpit. This was used by drovers for watering cattle. Blacksmiths used this too in order to shrink metal tyres onto cartwheels. Where we are here is in fact the old road between Leicester and Rugby. The old road from Leicester entered the village opposite the White Lion pub and continued round the corner by the washpit. The modern A4304, a turnpike you'll recall from the Misterton with Walcote episode, bypassed the village in 1755. That building there is the former Shoulder of Mutton pub, which closed in 1934. Right, it's still early in the morning, but this will be interesting to see if this school is open, what with it being so hot, because some schools in this heat have decided to close their doors. Before we hit the school, we have a playing field, which was opened in 1972 on land donated by a local farmer. It includes 2 full-sized football pitches, a training area and a cricket pitch. Both the village football and cricket teams play here. The responsibility of everyday maintenance and running of the site remains with the Sports Field Committee. The clubhouse was built in the 1970s and is available as a social venue. There's also an all-weather sports area which was built in 1994. The annual Kilworth Challenge also takes place here. The Kilworth Challenge is a charity event that takes place over 2 days. Teams take part in a huge range of physical challenges like a wet and muddy assault course, and also mental challenges too. It sounds like fun. If you want to have a go, you can. Anyone can take part in it if you can get here, so you might need a bus. Here it's the number 58 between Lutterworth and Market Harborough. So here's the entrance to the school. A very small one, actually. I was expecting it to be a bit bigger than this, considering how big North Kilworth is. I imagine this is fun at school time, Nikki. Only having this little bit of road.
This is the reception entrance though, not school entrance. So, I would imagine that there's a lot of encouragement to walk children to school, as it should be.
Should be, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. These parents that drive just literally 5 minutes down the road.
Costs too much in petrol.
Yeah, well, yeah, given the cost of petrol, I wouldn't like to be doing that.
No.
So the main entrance looks like it's here, actually. Or is this the staff car park?
Private car park, staff parking.
Staff parking, okay. Even so, it's still not a big school, is it? St Andrew's Church now. This dates from the 13th and 14th centuries and is made of local cobbles. It has 1864 additions, made of charnwood granite, a foreign material for North Kilworth. In the churchyard we have a parish notice board. That's now 2 down in Leicestershire. The church has a hexagonal clock face which was given by the Entwhistles of Killworth House. It's made of wood and was restored in 1993. Above it is a bell chamber for 5 bells whose louvres are of slate. The churchyard has a prominent altar tomb to Man Dobson, a notable admiral during the Napoleonic Wars. His fleet, the White Squadron, reported to none other than Lord Nelson. There were a few adverts in and around the church for tea and cake here, if you pass on the right day. Now, with a church normally comes a vicarage or a rectory. Here we've got a rectory, the old rectory, right next door. Yes, quite a substantial building. Quite correct, Nikki. Our next major landmark is something you spotted earlier, isn't it? It's the Bowls Club. And it's this way, down here. Here's North Kilworth Bowls Club. In 2013 they celebrated their 80th anniversary. The club has its own green and clubhouse with bar facilities which are run and maintained by club members. This street name was interesting, along the bottoms. This, according to the map, is Green Lane. There's a Victorian culvert here which feeds the bogs, which we're coming to shortly. Next we turn onto Church Street and we have the Belgrave Village Hall. This was built in 1902 to the memory of Reverend C.W. Belgrave. The foundation stone was laid by the Entwhistles of Killworth House. Now this isn't a sign for the local toilet. I can guarantee you. The bogs, it's part of the nature reserve, which is the same way as the Millennium Green, which is where we're going right about now, underneath this height restriction thing, and then across the green to our next part of the village. In 2009, North Kilworth had something called a tree planting day, part of a wider management of the Millennium Green. This board on the wall of the village hall records the trees that have been planted. The Millennium Green was created in 1999 from part of the Belgrave estate. It contains a square moat, probably dating from the 14th century, which enclosed the site of a medieval manor house. The site, known as the Bogs, is a rare wetland site that provides a quiet breathing space as well as encouraging wildlife. It's overlain with a walkway covered in chicken wire for extra grip underfoot. Visible during the winter and spring are two Victorian brick access points from where villagers drew their water before water mains were laid in 1956. Okay, so we're out of the Millennium Green now. We're heading back into civilization along Cranmer Road. Something we noticed was when you're near water, the temperature drops quite significantly. It just shows how much heat is held by tarmac and concrete and things like that. Where we're staying, our hotel is just on the outskirts of Lutterworth, and close to our hotel there's the River Swift. There's a nice little oasis-y area, we called it that, didn't we, where the River Swift passes an Aldi supermarket. And last night it was extremely hot in our room, so we went for a little walk just to cool down, and we stepped out onto this little oasis, and it was instantly cooler than it was on the tarmac. And when we came back out, we felt how hot the tarmac was. We actually physically put our hands on the tarmac, and it was roasting. That just goes to show how important tree cover is in this part of the world, because it cools things down.
And it's time for today's public service announcement.
Oh, here we go. You like doing these, go on.
Okay. In hot weather, take your dog out before 9 AM and after 6 PM. No dog ever died from not getting a walk. Protect your doggies, protect their paws. It's hot out there. If it's 25 degrees, the tarmac's 35 degrees. I know there's lots of people saying this at the moment on social media, but it's so important. I'm still seeing idiots out in the middle of the day, in the middle of the height of the sun, walking those poor animals.
Just goes to show I'm not the only village idiot out there. Sometimes you've just got to look up. Look closely at this thatched cottage. Can you see the fox on the roof? The fox is a symbol of Leicestershire. We will see much more of them here. A couple more paces and we're at the War Memorial on the green. The Close, the large 3-storey house on the western side of the green, was used to billet German prisoners of war during World War I. Let's head for the A4304, which means walking up North Kilworth's narrow High Street. On the western side is the former Methodist chapel of 1856, externally unaltered, but it's now a private house. So this is the High Street, which will take us back to the A4304, which is the main road through North Kilworth.
Which is very noisy.
It is very noisy. Check out this street. What can't you see on the ground? Footpaths. It's a narrow, footpathless street. Much like Walcote, North Kilworth has a petrol station which doubles as the village shop. As far as we could tell, North Kilworth has no other shops, unless we just didn't see them. What it does have, though, is a pub. This is the White Lion, which has all the hallmarks of a classic coaching inn. In this hot weather, they even put out water for the dogs. They termed it Doggy Beer. They have a pre-theatre menu on offer too. It should be noted that this isn't your only food option before you visit the theatre. Killworth House has something called the Wordsworth Restaurant. You see, I knew Nikki was vital to the operation. We have drinks now from the petrol station, which we need after walking around North Kilworth, and we're virtually round. Basically the car is just behind this tree to the left.
8 o'clock in the morning, 24 degrees. Feels like the Mediterranean, except this is no holiday.
But it is a nice place though, North Kilworth, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, okay, we're not quite finished with North Kilworth either, because I still need to go out to the east because there's something else to catch out there. But before I do that, you guys need today's picture bit. So you may have noticed the last section of the walk was on Station Road. This is the site of the former station, last known as Welford and Kilworth. It was originally just called Welford. It was on the Rugby and Stamford Railway and was opened in 1850. It lasted until 1966, and although gone now, the down platform is preserved at the Electric Railway Museum near Baggington. Within walking distance is North Kilworth Marina and North Kilworth Wharf, and there's a difference. This is the wharf on the Leicester arm of the Grand Union Canal. Around for 200 years, it's a well-established working boatyard that offers a range of boat services. Here's the fun bit: it's not in North Kilworth, it's over the parish boundary into Husbands Bosworth. Half of the marina, which is more about moorings, also falls within Husbands Bosworth. That's because the parish boundary is the course of a stream, one of the tributaries of the River Avon. Okay, that's it for North Kilworth, and now we need to go down towards its southern counterpart, South Kilworth, which is next week's episode here in Harborough. Hope you've enjoyed this one. It's a lovely little place. It's starting to get very warm, so hopefully we'll get around these next two places before it does start to get too warm to continue. So yeah, onward to South Kilworth, and I'll see you there next week. I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot. This has been the Parish of North Kilworth, and I'm out.